So there we go. That's us live now, and thanks nobody for turning up yet, but give it a chance. It's sort
They
of.
saw it was me. They saw it was me, and they're just like, "Oh, not that idiot again."
Oh no, we're sick of him.
Yeah,
Well,
people are running from the show.
I have to say though, Nick, thanks very much. We were supposed to have David Worley on tonight, but with that whole incident, I don't know if you've seen with the atheist convention that they're having in England.
He sent me a message to talk about it, and I've been streaming for the last like 5 hours straight, and I'm going to be streaming later too. So I'm like I don't know what's going on. But people are trying to talk to me.
Yeah, well, I think Aaron Ra has pulled out now. Aaron Ra was named to be there. Richard Dawkins was named to be there. Cosmic Skeptic was named to be there, and somebody else as well. I can't remember their name. But this guy that's organising it, come on, was a little creepy towards David, and I think Aaron Raz pulled out. Rachel Oates and Mr. Atheist, and a load of people have done videos on it. But with all that going on, it was just he got messed up and couldn't make it here tonight. So I appreciate Nick has come in at the very last minute. He's got 20 minutes. 20 minutes, I think, a fucking heads up. Critical, Tog, Nerdy, all thanks for coming in. So. Nick, you have your own channel, or do you have just In Time? Is it just the one that you have?
I got my own channel, Nicholas Lamar Soutter. It's YouTube.com/Nicholas Lamar Soutter, and you can find me there. That's where most of my debates go. I mirror a lot of the stuff. If I do something on Ask a Philosopher, that all goes there. Modern day debates. The S.J. Thomason one is up there. Yeah, the one that's really popular. This one got I think 15,000 views in like the first week. So it's the only video that's got nothing else. Hits even remotely close to that is my rant on Donald Trump, which was from the primaries. I did a rant. It doesn't sound like me, admittedly. It's a little more coarse than I usually get. It's a rant. It's from the primaries when Trump said we should go around murdering the families of terrorists, and I took umbrage to that. So I did a rant. That one got to be pretty popular. So all that's up there, and a couple interviews I did on radio, stuff like that.
Probably working the algorithm, Donald Trump in the name of the title. Things like that,
I probably wouldn't. Well, no, this one went viral because it's different. This was people like this one. It was a comment. First of all, I wanted it to be as profane as humanly possible, because I think when you're talking about Donald Trump, being as profane as possible is apropos. And then I also wanted to be as erudite as possible. So I got into our history in the Middle East, how and why that actually led to his election, and yada, yada, yada. And I think people found the combination. And I also wanted to do it in the style of Dennis Leary. So I speak very rapidly with a tremendous amount of profanity. And I think people like that combination. They asked me to do it again. I did one on gun control. It didn't go nearly as well. I think people like that one.
I haven't seen that. I know I should definitely have a look at that now. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, the gun control one, I said that Wayne LaPierre was guilty of negligent homicide, and then I dared him to sue me for slander or libel. He hasn't done it yet. But...
Well, that's it. You call them out. If nobody comes back, fuck them. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I'm actually, I got to admit, I'm not hoping he does it, but if he does, then you have to have a conversation. Is he guilty of negligent homicide? And then that begs the question of what exactly is the NRA doing in the United States?
Making money. Making lots and lots and lots of money.
Lots of money. So he hasn't taken the bait, but he has sued people before. That's the wife is very tolerant. I was like, so hon. So I did. I own a website, the Humanist Codex, and it's a repository for atheist arguments, anti-theist arguments, theistic arguments. If a theist hits you with an argument that stumps you, we probably have it on the Codex and how it breaks down, and everything is working out together. So it's a repository of these kinds of arguments. But I also offered a $10,000 flat Earth challenge. If you could prove that the Earth was flat, we'd give you $10,000. And I remember I started it with a $1,000 challenge, and that wasn't really doing much. And then so I go to my wife. I say, I want to move this to 10,000. And she did pause for a second. This is legit. We've got a contract. We've got the whole 9 yards. The goal of this actually is it's not to prove whether or not the Earth is flat or not. It's to prove whether or not you're talking to a Poe. Because if this works right, I've had people get to signing and they melt down, they flip out, they can't. It doesn't. It breaks down fakers very easily. But Because the thing is, everything's out of pocket. We pay for everything. We cover the whole 9 yards, everything. Whatever experiment you want to do, if you want to do it in Tahiti, we go to Tahiti. We'll fly you out there. We'll do the whole 9 yards. But in the unlikely event that it turns out that the Earth is round, you have to pay us back. And that's the part that kind of sticks in people's craw.
Well, you can't really prove that it's flat. It just doesn't sort of, you can't prove that it's flat because it sort of isn't.
Yeah. Well, we got a physicist with us. We've got Dave Thomas, who actually was the guy who cracked the Bible code. He was able to conclusively prove, he's on the cover of Scientific American for proving that the Bible code was fake. Worked at Los Alamos for a while, so he's our physicist. We got two physicists, a biologist, and we just go through, and anytime somebody wants to do it with us, we do. Haven't done it in a while. I've been extraordinarily busy with In Time and everything else. But so I tell my wife, okay, I want to offer $10,000. She's like, okay, so we have to put a little money in escrow. It's kids' college fund. We're hoping
it's safe though.
I don't screw up. And then there was that, and by the way, hon, I just want to let you know I'm going to take the top 3 gun rights advocates in the country, and I'm going to dare them to sue me after I call them guilty of negligent homicide. Is that okay with you? She's like, shit, who'd I marry?
No. Yeah, my woman gives me them looks every now and again when you go out and you come back with a child. And it's like, what did you do? Don't tell mommy. Don't tell mommy.
There's a lot of that, it's like, you gotta figure out how to bribe the kids.
Oh, I've got into so much trouble. Like, my woman has said on numerous occasions that I have no consideration for the child's well-being whatsoever. But it's good to get them out. It's good to push the limits, and I don't want her to be afraid. So get them out to fuck, throw them off the deep end, literally,
Yeah. Well, throw them into the water and see if they can swim.
Well, just as you were mentioning, man, just as a wee side note, you said you're awful busy with In Time now. How did that actually start?
Oh, Jesus.
I never knew of Asgar before you started to do the In Time.
Oh, well, there's how Asgar and I met, which is actually on, I think that's on my channel. It's also on In Time because we covered that story on John Peterson, who I think you had on.
Me? John Peterson?
Story with us.
Oh, yes, that John Peterson. I was thinking the famous John Peterson and lobsters there for a wee second. I was like, fuck no.
Well, John Peterson's famous, but only in certain circles.
Yeah.
No, so what happened was, first of all, I had been doing a lot of sort of streaming, and I wanted to build my channel. My channel wasn't any new content, and I had a good interface for it, and I had a couple shows in mind for my own channel. But most of it's just stuff I do on either the GDC, modern day debates, whatever. And I said, no, I want to do my own new original content. Ansgar and I knew each other. We got along well, and at one point I had actually had him on Ask a Philosopher, and we did a great job, and it was obvious that we got along well and could do a show together. So I said, hey, listen, he had a really interesting life. I said, it's unique. Could I bring you on and I'll interview you? Oh, great. So we talked about how we'd do the interview. And then we're talking about it a little bit. He goes, Nick, I should interview you too. I said, oh, I know, that would be great. My own channel. People get to see more and more about me. I was like, I probably want you on again for some other stuff too that we could cover. He goes, oh, I could come on, as a regular segment. I was like, that's a really good idea. And the more we just kept building it out until eventually we're just like, it needs its own, it's going to be its own show and it's going to need its own channel. I was very resistant to that because I was just like, no, it's on my, but the reality is the way it finally grew, it needed its own channel. And so we created In Time.
See, that's the thing, when with YouTube, it's not like TV channels where you can do multiple types of stuff. It's sort of that every channel has to have its own. It's every channel is a show. It's as if YouTube is the one big TV channel and each one is a specific show doing the different things. Unless you start it from the get-go and do that from the get-go, as you say, man, it won't work until you give it its own platform, its own area. And
no, I think you're right. I think that's a limitation of YouTube. I can see why they want to do it that way, and I think there's some benefits to them for that. But I don't think it helps the content providers any, and I think they lose out in some ways too. But so that's how In Time came.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest, man. I watch some. I don't watch every episode because, it's not something that I would. Every topic isn't for me. It's a very good show and very well produced. Whoever did your intro at the start. It's fucking class. Your wee intro at the start is brilliant.
Thank you very much. That was me.
Well, definitely, you know, I've got a wee silly intro, but it's just my icon and then my name catches fire. It's and it took me like 25 minutes, maybe an hour on fucking DaVinci Resolve. It was the best I could do.
Well, I used a template and I did a lot of editing and, you know, dropping things. It took me 2 weeks. I mean, that wasn't that.
Yeah.
It took me 2 weeks to do. Had to find the music, had to sync everything up, and I'm not, I mean, I've done stuff like that before, but that's not really my wheelhouse. So there's a lot of experimentation and learn. But thank you. I'm proud of that. I did the intro both for that and for the after show.
No, you definitely should be proud of it, man. I think putting a wee bit of production into a channel and, you know, making it just look a wee bit better than having StreamYard sticking in the top corner, it gives the audience eyes, just something to look at. You know, obviously some people can listen to it. I would listen to some in the car and not actually watch the TV or the screen at all, obviously, but it is good to have something to look at.
Oh, well, Ansgar works his ass off. I mean, one of the things is, for the theme, I sort of did the layout. I said, this is how I'd like it to look. This is how we're going to do it. We have different layouts for different situations. So we can actually host debates. We can have one guest. We can have two guests. We can have a whole panel of guests, breaking news. So we have different layouts and we can switch back and forth. It's OBS. It's simple. We're actually be switching over to vMix soon. But so I said, this is how I'd like the layout to work. And then he did all the graphics. All the graphics is custom. He did all that stuff. So it ends up looking, you know, I'm very proud of what this show has done. And, you know, Dave McGinnis is in with us, Kitty the Atheist is in with us, and everybody there works their asses off. It's coming together nicely. We have some plans for how to get it bigger, and we've got some interesting shows coming up, but I couldn't be happier with it.
Yeah, well, as you say, man, every time the artwork's mentioned, the pigsty in the background, if you see it with the stars and stuff, a friend of mine, he's known as Easism Works on YouTube, he spent nearly a month doing that. You know, I have to give him credit for that. It looks fantastic. It's exactly what I wanted, and he put up with my bitching and yapping and going, I don't really like this. I don't want to offend you, but can you change this? And there was a bit halfway through it where he'd done texturing, you know, and the layering of stuff to make things look better, and it looked like fuck all. And I was like, man, seriously, can you change this? And he was like, just give it time, Robbie. Just shut your mouth. Give it time. It'll look good when it's finished. Like,
but Ansgar's got that too, where he's just like, he's got a lot of patience because you know, for me, it's like, no, I want this over just a little bit. This is how I want this, and I'm tweaking everything. It's like every now and then it's like, well, let me guess, Nick, you want changes to the layout?
Yeah.
Yes.
I know.
He's good about it, but oh my God.
Well, that's the problem with doing it with two people. Now, I would do a show on a Thursday night with Richard. You've obviously heard of Richard Madsen, yes?
Yes.
Yes. So I would do a show on a Thursday with him going through his David and Goliath and his interpretation of it and where it comes from, and you know, and he has no interest in the setting it up or anything at all, so he's just, whatever I do is grand. He just agrees with it, which is fantastic. Like, but that's quite an interesting series. Now I recently bought Universe Sandbox 2, so we're going to put his theory of where the planets are going to move and what's going to happen, and we're going to put that into Universe Sandbox 2 and see how it goes, see what happens.
Nice.
I don't think it's gonna work, but oh no, we all do love Richard though. Richard is a heretic. He's all the rest of it, and but no, he's genuine, which is why we like him. You know, why we put up with him. I hope that's why people put up with me as well. Sort of lovable asshole I'm aiming for.
Well, I've only just started to get to know you, but of course you came in and helped us on the Discord, which I really appreciate. And, you know, hey, free airtime. You're like, Nick, I want to put you on the show. Is that all right? Oh, let me see if I can find a way to fit it into my schedule.
Well, man, I only have something like 200 subscribers, 215 subscribers. We're nowhere near your 1,000 mark, you know, but...
No, you'll get there.
We'll get there. I get plenty of view time. You know, I get maybe I think last month was 14 or 15,000 minutes worth of view time. So that's decent. Nice. Yeah, that's decent enough, I think. So we just do.
I think you need 5,000 to monetize. So if you're in excess of No, it's 5,000 hours.
5,000 hours, yeah.
It's 5,000 hours, yeah.
Well, I've got my personal URL, and the mathpig.com was going damn cheap a couple of months ago, so I bought that too, and my friend's building a website for me. So
Nice.
it's just going to be a page with links to YouTube. That's pretty much all it was. But I was thinking of maybe having a post-it, like a notice board. And do you know the idea of leave a penny, take a penny?
Oh,
But with skills, like, you know, I would help Sal out, and Sal helped me out with the background. So if somebody needs a Discord set up, I could maybe do that, and if they can repay me with doing a wee bit of art for the channel or something like that, you know, and everybody sort of reach out and help each other. It's at the end of the day, I do want to try and build bridges here. Like, the idea is to get everybody in, get everybody all comfortable, all nice, and in about 6 months we'll start calling each other assholes and fucking and blind and actually having proper arguments, you know. You have a background in philosophy. You're trained or studied in philosophy, is it? Or?
Just a BA, but I continued a lot of work past that. I wanted to get, I was tempted to go for a PhD. I had a few professors who were saying, like, would help you get the PhD, but you know the difference between, what did the employed philosopher say to the unemployed philosopher?
Don't know.
Would you like fries with that?
Yeah.
And I was sitting there sort of trying to start a lot, and I love philosophy. I really do. I love breaking things down, and I was just good at it, and I could intuit it, and I operated in it. BAs in philosophy and psychology, but I ended up not going very far with either of them. What I ended up doing was writing. I wrote a novel that was it was a philosophical work. It was a philosophical work and an economic work. It is a rebuttal to Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged. And wrote that, stellar reviews, national reviews that were just, now, it was a commercial failure, but the Midwest Book Review said this book should be required reading for anyone who questions authority in the United States. So that's the Midwest Book Review. That's a pretty good, you know.
Well, I'm little in tiny Northern Ireland. A lot of the people you've been mentioning and things that you've been mentioning obviously are American related, so the audience would maybe know more than that than I would. Like, I have, go on ahead. No, go on ahead.
What?
No, go on ahead. Go on ahead.
Ayn Rand is a neoliberal economist. She was Russian, defected to the U.S., and had a huge influence on our economic policy. Alan Greenspan was a student of hers. And she basically is the greed is good. You know, everybody should always do what's in their own best interest. That's it. There was the Atlas Shrugged movies that were based on her, on the book. Anyways, it's an esoteric book. Not a lot of people know it. Paul Ryan, Rand Paul, all require all their staff members to read the book. These are members of Congress who require the staff members to read the book. And this was it's a novel, but it's a novel that talks about economics. I decided to rebut it. I read it. I said, I think there's something wrong. I broke it down using philosophical constructs and said, okay, how do I build up something that rebuts it? So I wrote a book called The Water Thief, which was a rebuttal to it. But hey, you don't need to know it. You can still enjoy the book without knowing any of that stuff about that. And that's it. I've been writing since, and I've been doing the philosophy again. I've been getting back into it, which I really enjoy. But yeah.
Well, I have an interest in it, man, and I would go so far as saying I know philosophy 101, so to speak. You know, I could have the conversation with someone. I probably couldn't fight a point or stand for a certain point. Have you heard of one-way apologetics?
One-way apologetics?
Yes. It used to be known as Sole del Gloria, I think. But he's a presuppositionist. He's a fella I've known this long time, you know, and he knows that I'm not insulting him, but when he's being an asshole, I call him Darth Dawkins. But with me and him and possibly someone else, we were thinking of doing on a Sunday, like a philosophy, not a course, but, you know, just to give people more of an insight into it and be able, because I want to get better at the debates. You know, obviously I'm trying to be friendly here and all the rest of it, but I do want to get the debates going. I do want to have the discussions and be able to stand my ground and stand my point, because in this community, especially online, the philosophy does come into it a big deal. I find sometimes it can be a wee bit anal. If you don't mind me saying that, I know it's your background and all, but sometimes I think it's unnecessary. I do have these conversations in real life with random strangers, and a random stranger in the street isn't really interested in the mythology or the epistemology or this, that, and the other. It's what's important to them and the words that they use. It doesn't really go down that route, if you know what I mean.
The only part I found offensive about that was that you said sometimes it doesn't mean anything. Most of the time it doesn't mean anything. That's why people don't like philosophy. And people don't like philosophers in general, because philosophers take things that you assume and you believe and they start to poke at it. And you're sitting there going, no, I like to poke at that shit. What are you fucking doing? So most people, in my experience, don't really like philosophers. They think they're pedantic and they get into all these other arguments. But the reality is science was born out of philosophy.
Oh, yeah.
Philosophy is still critically important, but it's one field of how we study and do things. And it's a critically important one, but it's a very narrow one. Philosophy isn't going to feed people. Philosophy built science, and that feeds people. It's not the philosophy that's doing it. So I do think knowing how to form good arguments and knowing how to defend your positions, which is really the cornerstone of philosophy, I think all that's important. But,
better argumentation.
What you said makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I want to learn better argumentation to be able to have these conversations. You would definitely get on with one way. As soon as I start going down the route of evidence and, how we're not a brain in a jar and all that sort of shit, he brings out the fucking philosophy of science. You and him would get on great, like.
The solipsistic arguments too. Well, and I haven't yet debated. I mean, I did a lot of debates on modern day debates. I'm taking a break from it. I'm overwhelmed. I got to spend more time with the family. But I haven't yet gotten into it with a pre-sup. Hold on one second. I haven't gotten into it with any pre-subs yet. I've crossed paths with Sci 10 on occasion, but I haven't really gotten into it with him. I mean, at some point I'd like to just between in time for the first month was 80 hours a week minimum, and we've lost a lot of time. Our producer got into a battle with a nacho and lost.
A nacho?
So yeah, a nacho kicked his ass. He's Canadian, so. We kind of understand, but no, he was eating a nacho and it got up underneath one of the gums and all of a sudden blood and all this other stuff.
Right. I was wondering what happened, how he got defeated by a nacho.
Yeah, that's how he got defeated he ended up in the ER.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing was he actually had an abscess in his tooth, and so it ruptured the abscess. So there was a legit medical thing, but please, I'm begging you, blame the nacho. He got his ass kicked by a nacho. That's the narrative we're running. That's the way I look at it. He's a Canadian, and Mexican appetizers are his kryptonite. So he's out for like 2 weeks. Ansgar got pneumonia. Ansgar's wife got pneumonia, so he had to take care of her, and then he got pneumonia. And then it's just and then I got sick, Kitty got sick. So we're trying to get back into the swing of things. But it's 80-hour weeks. The website needs to be rebuilt. Obviously, the interface took a tremendous amount of time. The intro took a lot of time. We have an after show. That took a lot of time. And none of that's really quite up to par yet. We're going to be switching to vMix. And, between that, booking guests and, all the other stuff, it's been busy. We got patrons. Oh, that does remind me, though. If you want, you can let me know, and I'd be more than glad to help. One thing, I'm going to start putting philosophy lessons up on my website.
Yeah.
We do have 5-minute courses on logic. So if you just want to understand logic, it's a podcast, 5 minutes. This is what logic is. This is how it works. This is how and why you use it. That's up on my website, and I've been giving lessons so my patrons can, my patrons just get a hangout with me.
Yes.
And a lot of them said, could you teach me logic during that? So I said, okay, sure. And started recording some of those. So we've got me teaching my patrons logic, sort of one-on-one. And we're going to be putting some of that up, but I'm more than happy, or not just logic, but philosophy in general. And so all that is going to be going up, but I'd be more than happy to help too. If there's anything I can do, just let me know.
Yeah, well, we were going to do. I'm trying to get an atheist. I'm agnostic, so I'm trying to get an atheist, agnostic, and a theist to do philosophy. And then we go over a couple of different topics, and if one of them really,
sounds like fun.
Yeah, if one of them really strikes a certain person, then at the end of the month, we fight about it, from the theistic point of view.
I get to strike a certain person? That sounds good to me.
Yeah, so as I say, we discuss it, we have a bit of crack for a couple of weeks, and then at the end of the month we shout at each other over it, because obviously from a theistic point of view and an atheist point of view, you should have different viewpoints on certain topics. So again, it'll be an experience for me to learn how to fight, learn how to debate online, you know, sit back and watch. And yeah, I definitely want to get better at it, because I've been in the community a while, and as you say, man, you want to do something, the best thing to do is to create it yourself. Get a channel, do your thing. If you think nobody out there, and the same to anyone in the audience, if we ain't doing this right, go buy a computer, go get a couple of screens, go get fucking internet, and just set up your own channel. Like, if we're not doing it right, come and show us how to do it. And
that's one of the blessings of this. As much as everybody gets pissy about YouTube, and as well they should, the reality is anybody can just start putting that's a marvelous thing. I think people can just do this stuff. If you're creative in any way, if there's something you want to say, this is the best time to live in, to be able to do this kind of thing.
Yeah, I think we can all, at the end of the day, try and help each other out, because everybody is better at something in one direction or in one area. And the internet is a giant learning. It's like a giant library. All the information is there. Personally, I would read. Yes, everybody needs to read more. But I learn better if somebody's in front of me. Someone there goes, show me it, go through it. You get a bit of bounce back and forth. You can go, but this bit didn't get, could you just explain that again? And you get it, because you'd have to read the book 3 or 4 times. Or
yep.
We should be able to look at this cheeky cunt. Do you know Doorknob Head is Nick slumming?
I learned by fucking shit up. I gotta do it. I gotta try it. I gotta get my hands in there and then fuck it up a couple hundred times. And then I was like, oh, that's how it. And it's funny because we are doing some new systems on In Time. And Dave's like, well, let me explain it to you how this works. Nope.
Yeah.
Tell me how to log in and how to screw it up, and that's what I'm gonna go do.
That's
like, well, it's easier if I just explain. No, I'm not gonna remember. I'm gonna remember by doing it.
Yeah. If you go in and fuck about, there's somebody always there that you need to, if you can ask them or whatever. But I would be the exact same as you, man. Like, I am a mechanic by trade, right? I work with tires during the day, and I have a wee bit of a background in maths. That's hence the name MathPig. I went to Queen's University for a year and a bit, did maths, physics and advanced maths, but situations in life, it just didn't work out, you know. So, but as you say, if you apply yourself, like I taught myself OBS, I wanted to have a bot I wanted my own bot for Discord, so I went to, is it codeacademy.co.uk or .com? Went to
Code Academy, I think it's .org.
Yeah, whatever it is, man. Went on that, learned a wee bit of coding, made a wee Irish bot that just gives shit to people. That's all it could do, was give abuse to people. But you go out and you learn and you try your hand. The only reason I know mechanicking is because I blew up a car and had to change the engine because I'd broken no money and had to do it myself. And we ripped it apart, fucking drunk. And then we put everything. Oh man, we thought we were class. We got little, what we would call takeaway boxes. Do you know when you get a takeaway, you get like a wee plastic box with a lid and all on it? So we had loads of them. We took the car apart. We put all the bits in all separate boxes. And we woke up the next morning and forgot to label the boxes because we were drinking. Yeah, so we had an entire engine removed with about 50 boxes and nothing fucking labelled.
Oh, isn't that how it always goes, though? Do you know who Master Apologist Supreme is? I don't know if he still goes by that name. I've had him.
Oh, that fucking asshole with the shield.
You do know who he is.
Oh, yes, no man, yeah, no, I've been around enough. He used to hang about with that fella Mark or Mike from Red Pill Philosophy. He's one of them fucking assholes, yeah.
Well, he's challenged me to a debate more than once, and I always say no. And there are a couple of reasons I say no.
Because you're afraid of losing, obviously. You're afraid of losing, obviously.
That's exactly what you got it. You got where I'm going with this, which is, well, and he's mentally unstable, and I've tried to, and I think at one point he sort of acknowledged that maybe he's got some issues. And
did you get that recorded?
Well, no, he said he was going to take some time off to deal with it, and then I guess God fixed it for him. I'm not kidding. That's what he came back. He had talked to God, and he was all clear now. He has won 416 debates. He's 416 and 0.
I know.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I also have a considerable law background. I used to teach law. I've got that judge's gavel in the back from when I was for the Massachusetts Bar Association. I was wondering what that was. Mock trial coach, teaching high school kids how to do trials and won't actually go into court and do the whole 9 yards. But one thing I always say, if you ever hear from a lawyer he's never lost a case, if you ever hear from a lawyer that he's never lost a case, run away.
Yeah.
Boy, run away. Because one of two things is true. He's either lying to you or he's never tried a difficult case. One of the best attorneys in U.S. history was F. Lee Bailey. He did Plessy versus Ferguson. He changed U.S. law. He lost 45% of the cases he ever tried. 45% of the cases he tried, he lost. But every case he ever tried was thought to be unwinnable. Unwinnable.
Yeah.
O.J. Simpson, unwinnable. He won. Now, so you take a look at his record, 45% losses, and you say he's a terrible lawyer. If I'm in real trouble, he's the guy I go with. Now, Apologist Supreme sits there and says he's never lost a debate, ever. That tells me he's never been in either he's delusional, lying, or he's never been in a debate with good debaters, and I know he has been. So
yeah, we'll go with the first two. We're definitely going to go with the first two. The man is delusional. Like, I've watched some of his debates. He is, yeah. Well,
and the fact is, he needs to, and the people around him feed this. They realize that he needs to be. I've never lost. That's a problem. You need to be able to accept that you've lost and that there are losses. I've lost. I've lost to people who were better than me. I've lost to people who weren't better than me, which is even worse.
Yeah.
But it happens, and it's what you were just saying about experience, about doing. The only way to learn to debate is to debate people. If you want to get good, debate people who are better than you. Lose repeatedly. It's not fun. I don't enjoy it, but I get better. And he's never done that, according to him, and that's a problem. So, you were talking about pulling the engine apart, and just doing it. The way you debate is you do it, and if you've been doing it with good people, which is the only way to learn, you're going to lose.
Oh, I totally agree with you, man. And just as a side story to that, whenever the engine blew up and I had to change it, I punched a concrete wall in bad temper, so we had to change the engine with one hand in a cast. Right? And then it gets worse, right? It gets worse. I bought an engine on the cheap and put it in, and the guy promised me it was firing, but there was no engine ECU attached to it at the time when I bought it, so I couldn't test it. And when I put it in, it was firing in 3 cylinders, so I had to then take that one out and put another one in.
Oh my God!
But it did teach me engines.
Oh yeah. Oh well, and I learned to build computers the same way. I had a business for a little while, building and selling computers and shipping them.
I built this computer with a camera set up and a laptop set up, with a camera and a German man and a Dutch man on one of the Discords I'm in, watching what I'm doing, and had sent me the manual. He'd actually got the manual, and it had pictures in it. It was great. It was like, look at the manual, go to page 12. Do you see that thing in your hand? Put it in slot 4. Brilliant. There we go. It fired up first time though, man. It did. Fired up first time. Happy days. All worked. Everything was grand. And then he left me till it. And I went and downloaded games for free. And it then spent him, I think, 2 hours to take the malware off the fucking computer after I'd fucked it up. Because it wouldn't stay live for more than an hour and then it would shut down. I thought it was the fans, and he was like, no. That computer we got, it should not be overheating. What have you done to it? And I just team viewed. I give him team viewer access, and I think it took him nearly 2 hours. It took nearly as long to build or to wipe the malware as it did to build the computer. Like. So now I don't download anything without double checking with him. Yeah, I don't. Is this safe? Is this okay? He's downloading a game for me at the minute. Species, if you've ever heard of Species. I would do random games, sometimes, and that where you get to evolve things, and it looks pretty funny, but it's £23, and I'm in fucking paying that. I just bought Universe Sandbox. Try and limit myself to 1 game a month,
I haven't been able to. I used to be a really serious gamer, and I still, my girls, I play Mass Effect with my girls, which I'm not sure if that qualifies as good parenting or not, but in fact, actually, we were supposed to do that today, but I've just been so busy. So we play Mass Effect, my 8 and 10-year-old, and
that's fine. They're 8 and they're 10.
Try to avoid the sex scenes. Sorry, what?
That's fine that they're 8 and 10. Have you got Netflix?
No.
You don't have Netflix. There's a show on Netflix called, is it Love, Sex and Robots or something like that? And
I think I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's done. Every episode is a different one, and my wee girl walked in on the episode where there's cybernetic monsters ripping each other apart, and she just got up and sat down beside me, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm watching this. You can watch it with me." And the girlfriend came in just as the head's being ripped off a monster, and she's like, "What the hell? Fuck me! What are you showing?" I was like, "Fine, honey, it's grand." Like, she's 2.5. She has to see these things eventually, you know.
Well, my wife had taken them somewhere. They were in the car, and she comes back and she's like, "Honey," I was like, "Yes." So we're in the car, and there's a car behind us, and they start saying, "Oh my God, it's the bad guy! Shoot the bad guy! Shoot the bad guy!" I was like, "Yeah," and he goes. Then they said, he's close, use a shotgun. No, he's getting further away. Switch to the sniper rifle now. And I just said, and there's a problem with this, honey? What's
well, suppose, I think it shows that it increases hand-eye coordination and things like that there. You know, it's the darts. It's the new darts. Whenever we were young, we would play darts and help. It's.
Oh, I'm going to get my wife on. You have to talk to her.
No.
You're explaining this part. No, you're explaining. I like this. I like where you're going with this. I'm going to get her on.
No, man, my woman has no appreciation at all for my style of parenting. Like, I spent a month, right? As I said to you before we come on, I would only see the girls over the weekends. And I have a decent-sized coffee table in the living room. And I would lie on the floor, and I've spent the last month with the daughter teaching her to jump off the coffee table. Because we would go swimming, right? And I wanted her to get confident enough. She loves to swim. She loves the water. And I wanted her to get confident enough to jump into the water. And I spent a whole month, and I was like, right, sorted. She's ready for it. You know, she's coming to the edge. She's not waiting. She's actually jumping. You know, we've went past the stage where she's walking off and all that. It's like, right, so we get her to the swimming pool. She's on the edge of the swimming pool, and she will not fucking jump for love nor money. Will not jump for the promise of ice cream or will not jump. So it just puts the hand out, lift me down. So I was like, right. So I lifted her down, and she's, for a 2.5-year-old, she's 3 foot 2 inches, man. She's in the 95 percentile for her age, for her height. She's tall enough, like, but we're in a deep enough part of the pool. And I'm sitting sort of playing with her, and the girlfriend's beside me, and I turned to the daughter and I was like, "Do you want to fly?" And we would do this in the living room, where I would, lift her up above my head, or I would lift her up with my feet or whatever. And she goes, "Yeah, fly, Daddy." So I fucked her up in the air, and I took 2 steps back, and she went straight into the water, right? Now, she did fine. She did fine, man.
Sure she did fine.
You just did the face my girlfriend did. I didn't like that. She went straight over.
I don't need the degree in philosophy to tell you. I think she may end up with some trust issues in the future. I'm throwing that out there.
No, she loves her daddy. She still only will go down the slide with me. If she wants to go down the big slide, she gets to go down the slide. She wants me to go with her. She loves her daddy. She's a daddy's girl, but.
Oh, she may love her daddy. Just think there's going to be some trust issues is all I'm saying.
No, I'm going to hit. No, right. So that was right. You said you could do 30, 40 minutes. It's 37 minutes. Thanks, Nick, for turning up. No.
Well, I am going to need to get going, actually. I was going to say I was going to need to. My sister called. I got to go call her back, and I got to actually deal with the kids, and who knows, maybe at some point play a video game. It was 2 snow days plus holiday. They've been cooped up for far too long. But
right. Well, if we can do just 10 minutes, if we can do 10, 15 minutes, if anybody in the audience wants to... We've got Messenger Reveals in the audience. You know John?
I do.
I've had John on, and the only episode of my entire channel that my mother has watched was the episode with Messenger Reveals.
He and I have been on a couple of chats together. We were in a couple hangouts with Steve McRae. He's hung out on In Time for a little while, so yeah, I know he is.
Yeah, John was good. I had good fun with John that night. After everything went offline, me and him, I think it must have been 6 a.m. my time that we stayed up. Him, me, and 2 of his mates sat up just talking on Discord for fucking hours. Like, good lad, John.
All right, well, hold on 1 second.
Okay, so if we've any questions from the chat, hi Lucy, thanks for turning up. You want to jump on, Lucy? Nick might be going. You can jump on. We'll have a panel.
I need to go. My sister's on with my wife, and they need me to talk, and so on and so forth. So, thank you very much for having me on,
Nick. Thank you, man. Thank you very much for just coming in at the very last minute. Who was that? Messenger. Yes, Nick is a class act. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate that. And check out In Time and check out Nick. All will be in the description tomorrow if I can be arsed doing it. So,
if you haven't been drinking too much.
Thanks very much, Nick. And yeah, if anybody wants an after party or anybody wants to hang out, just ting me in the pigsty. I'll send you a link to my Discord as well, man. You're welcome to join. So,
oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Everybody, thanks very much for turning up, and bye-bye.